Welcome to the third video. We are going to be finishing up the practice spread at this point. So we are going to come in and we're going to create secondary coverage. So you can see at this point that we have all the main coverage in. I just want to pause for a second and talk about design hierarchy. So when we went through that design unit, I know I moved you guys through pretty quickly, but it matters that you guys understand a little bit about those things and how they work together. So on a spread, we have a lot of design hierarchy stuff that we have to think about. If we don't have these, entry points for our viewer, they will just turn to the next page. They will not read this amazing story that you put together or read the captions that you put there or really pay attention at the photography that you took. So it's an essential part of the process to think about what you're doing to guide your viewer through your document. So on our two-page spread, of course, we have some large photography and some smaller photography. So talking about design hierarchy and contrast, we want to make sure there's a clear contrast between the size of the dominant and the other photos. So clearly we can easily see this is the most important photo, and then we can move through the rest of the photos as needed. The second big thing that we're sticking here is going to be this headline. That is going to be nice and large and bold so that way it's also drawing our reader's attention in, and that means it's a second entry point. You usually want at least 3 entry points per spread. So it's all on the line as just a really good headline, that package that really engages your reader and gets them in. Second, we have the subhead, which is larger than the body copy. So most likely your eye will read the headline, then the subhead, then the body copy, which is exactly what we want. So remember that design hierarchy is really about helping people navigate your information in the best way possible. If you think back to that resume example I showed you guys, that's a huge example of how you can use design to engage your audience and to get them to properly read or go through information in a way that you want them to. Even the captions, having a lead-in is made bold and looks different, so creating contrast between that and the caption to also engage our readers. So all of that main coverage has all that, and we are really working through that design hierarchy, but we have to stay conscientious of it as we move into secondary coverage. So we're going to be looking at size this whole time because size is very important when it comes to design hierarchy. So we're going to create a mod down here, and we're going to create a second mod down here. So we're going to have 2 mods on the spread, and then we are going to be done. So I'm going to hit W key so that way I can turn my grids back on. Just a review of your commands. First of all, make sure that you have your black cursor selected all of the time. This is called the selection tool. You just really want to make sure that that's always selected when you're not creating something. The rest of the time you'll end up with a bunch of stray marks on your page that are really confusing and it's difficult to get rid of sometimes. So that, remembering that you can command plus to zoom in, command minus to zoom out. If you hit the shift W key on the old computers, that will bring you into print view, which you can hit shift W to get back out of that. If you're on the new computers, I believe it's the F key on the 2019 InDesign. But yeah, so those are most of them. When we select our photos, that we use Command D to select the photo that will be inside of that frame. And once again, just remembering that that blue frame is the actual frame you're creating, while that orange line is going to be the actual image. So we can manipulate from there. If you are manipulating the image, you need to hold the shift key down when you increase and decrease size. That way you're not creating distortion when I don't use the key, and it creates this really weird wide view. And then of course Command Z is going to be undo. Alright, so to start with our secondary coverage, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of use what we have already just to save time. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down my Alt key and drag and drop this headline here. So in the last video I talked to you guys about having to create this one rail of space between elements to really kind of create clear division of what story is what and what goes together and what should not go together. These captions are related to these photos, so we want them nice and close. This mod that I'm going to be creating down here is not going to be related to these captions, to this story, to this photo. So it needs this space around it so that way it's creating that clear division. And we are really as good as we can be and as close as we can be with using those grids appropriately. Now, back to design hierarchy. I want to make sure that my headline is not as big as this one. All right, that one is very big. This one needs to be smaller. I need to make sure that I'm creating contrast in the sizing on my page. So I'm going to hold down this time the Command-Shift key. So both the Command key and the Shift key while I adjust this. And you'll notice that it's going to decrease the size of the font at the same time. So that'll save you guys a ton of time. You can adjust font size that way. All right, so a lot smaller now. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Alt key again, and I'm going to go ahead and move this subhead down. I'm going to go ahead and click inside this one to reduce the font size because I want to have more control. My leading doesn't need to be that big. And I don't need a content by because I've already listed my byline on the main copy. So usually, unless it's a different person who does a mod than did the main coverage, we just don't recredit them twice. It can get really annoying or obnoxious on a spread. All right, so I have a second headline and I have a second subhead. So we have, what we need for a mod now to go ahead and put one together. I'm just gonna do a really simple mod. We're gonna do what we call a story mod. So this is a photo or two photos that tell a story, and then we really just focus in on that. So I'm gonna draw my rectangle. I'm not sure exactly what size it's gonna be until I'm done, but I drew my rectangle in, hit Command D, and let's find a different photo we haven't used yet. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go ahead and focus on this guy here. All right, so I put that in. I'm going to come up here to my fitting, and I'm going to hit fill frame proportionally. And I'm going to go ahead and just adjust the orange box, not the blue box, to be more in. One of the things that we are conscientious of when we're on a spread is what direction are the people looking in? You don't necessarily want to put somebody like this over here because he looks like he's looking off the page. So this is a good facial direction for us to be looking at for a story mod on the left-hand side of the page. You can also see here, like we wanted her to be looking into the page. It's not so good that his body is pointing outwards. That would be like something we would try to adjust at the final stages. So my mod is started. I have a photo in. I have a clear rail on the top and bottom. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy over this caption to stick here so I don't have to worry about wasting time creating one right now. But remember, once again, to copy just by dragging, you hold the Alt key. All right, and you'll notice that we have this white space at the bottom here that here we're hitting. As long as the margin is hit one time on a spread, you don't have to hit it every time. So it's okay there's this extra space on the bottom on this mod, as long as it's to the exterior of this spread. So any white space that we have that's not just a single rail, we generally put to the exterior as much as possible. All right, and that's a little mod. You can clearly tell that it is less important than this stuff is and this stuff is. It's smaller. So design hierarchy plays a huge part in that. And we're going to go ahead and create one more tiny one over here. So I want to come bring that over, hit my lines again. You can see that I have a nice clear rail on the top and left-hand side, but this is coming off the edge, so I'm going to go ahead and Command-Shift and bring this down to a smaller size. All right, and you'll notice that now we are even smaller than the other one, the other secondary coverage or mod that we have on our page. So this is also indicating that this is less significant than this mod is. So using our design hierarchy principles throughout the process of creating the design is just really, really important. Bring that out since we don't need that full space. And then let's go ahead and pop another photograph in. Alrighty. Remember, we created the box and then we of course use Command D to select our image. And we're going to go ahead and focus on this cheerleader. We'll tell a story about her at the game. Maybe this was her last game. It was a big deal for her. Or maybe there's another really good story we want to tell. Whew, gotta sneeze. All right, so the big thing you notice right now is I was trying to adjust the image on the inside and I accidentally adjusted the rectangle that's blue. And I want to be adjusting the rectangle that's orange, so I'm doing the image. So I'm going to hit Command Z to bring that back down to the size that it was supposed to be. And then I'm going to click the center again, find that orange that I was looking for, and hold down the Shift key to adjust, just so I can get her a little bigger in the frame. All right, and once again, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pull from this one this time. And copy my caption over so that way I'm not recreating the wheel here. It's important to note, and honestly, if I was doing this, I probably want it to be like here, just to create a little more balance. It's important to note to you guys that, oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, something must have been not that important. Small text or, I don't know. All right, so that's there. And you guys just created a spread. So you should be pretty proud of yourselves. This is a thoughtful, well-designed spread. Obviously, you're not dealing with real problems like how long your stories are. Like a lot of times we'll come in and this story will be a lot shorter than we thought it was going to be, or we have to change a photo out and then the whole design has to change. So it can be really complicated when we get into actual stuff, and I will let you guys design your own spreads next time so you can kind of deal with those challenges firsthand. But just really good margins that we're keeping. We're making sure we're hitting the margin on the top. Ooh, we're not hitting it on the top. On the sides, we've hit it. On the bottom, we've hit it. Side, we've hit it. Here, we have not hit it. So let's go ahead and just increase this size a little bit. It's kind of too big. But we want to make sure we hit that top margin. And it looks good, you know? You guys did a great work, so hopefully yours looks exactly like mine. Now you have two last steps before you can submit this to me. The first is you have to go in and create new headlines. So I want to see you guys create some new headlines for all of it and subheads. So I'm not going to make you guys write captions today. I'm not going to make you guys write copy today, but I do ask that you guys do this. You need to change the content by to your name, right? This is how I will be grading you. So I need to know that you guys actually went in and did this practice, because you will be so lost in the next assignment if you have not learned these tools at this point. Hopefully you guys have taken notes on the different things. If not, you may want to just sit down with the video tonight and go back through the vocabulary and the commands and how to kind of function with this stuff. We'll be getting into other tools that you can possibly use too as we move into other videos, but this is the basics of layout design. So once again, before you guys finish, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is just to change the headlines, make sure they follow headline rules, change the subheads, make sure they follow subhead rules, and change your content by to your first and last name. Now, once you've done that, you're going to hit Shift W or the F key, depending on if you're on a new or old computer, and then you're going to hit Command Shift 4. We're just going to take a screenshot of your work. So you're going to come in, you're going to drag after you've hit Command Shift 4, select what you've made. You see how it came up on the bottom corner here. I'm going to hit Escape to get out of that. I'm going to save my progress for today. So, file save as. Today's 2/15, so 2/15. Save. All right, I want to come out of here. And I'll notice that my screenshot is on my desktop. So the one that was from today is, no, I think this one. So I have it here. To go ahead and move that into your folder, and you're going to want to rename it. So I'm going to bring it in just by dragging and dropping it in. It's right here, so I'm going to go ahead and put that into my spreads folder instead of just the whole project. Come in here, I can see it. I'm going to go ahead and rename it, and we'll just say practice spread 1, and then my name, Courtney Hanks, 2/15. Okay, so it's nice and dated, and that's what we're going to submit for the final assignment, which will be on Canvas. So great work, guys. Thank you for your patience. If you guys have questions or concerns, please let me know in class so that way I can address them and help you. Remember that tutorials are just a way for you guys to kind of self-pace. So they're not meant to be, you guys don't get to talk to me anymore. I just need to make sure that I'm getting everybody on the same page and you all have the same resources. So I will see you in class.